Hi, welcome back to, I think, the last part for this plot, adventure, and campaign idea building. It was actually meant as a creativity exercise and to end up with a working plot and campaign idea or adventure idea with functioning story elements, not with the goal to have everything planned out, but with a framework that functions. So every story element is thought through, abstract perhaps, but so that you can rely and have a backbone story idea that you can use. And the goal for me is today to end this with 3 parts, so that you have this main story backlog or idea, and to end today with the first prepared session that you can use. So the basic idea is always, for me, always plan the next session and don't go from there on. So don't plan the upcoming sessions. Perhaps you have some ideas, cool ideas, and that you can jot down anytime and can use it then when you plan the next session. So besides having a working session now ready today, we go a little bit more in detail. Before we plan actually the session, we go a little bit more in detail about some story elements, and perhaps think about names and give some names for NPCs and locations. Yes, and with this, for me, I could easily, or of course with a little more work for of course the upcoming sessions, I can then work with this, I think, pretty good. So, with this said, I think last time we just worked on a little bit more on the details for the sessions. We already thought through how many sessions we need for a scene, and we wrote some basic informations down, and we did this for every scene we have at the moment. So I think there's one story element we should start with, and this is this artifact that, of course, for now plays a major role in this story. And I think we have to think a little bit more through it, how this artifact functions, what its purpose is, because I think this is somehow demonic influence is in this artifact. So how does it functions? How is it related to this evil church? And I think if this works, we can answer a lot of logical questions easily. So perhaps what happened exactly in the past, in the history. This could provide you a few answers for this, or perhaps where this artifact located now, and what's going on there exactly. So let me fix something. I had to change the music a little bit more. It loops through the playlist, okay. And perhaps make it a little bit so, okay. Okay, Now, let's think about a demonic artifact. What could this be, this demonic artifact? We decided somehow that this revelation, that the PCs traveling with the caravan, they have had to protect over the story, was carrying this secretly, this artifact, to the capital city to the east. So, how does it functions? And this artifact must be used by the king in a really desperate situation, when the capital is under siege and there seems to be no way out of the situation, and all his knights and lords come together, and there's perhaps a voting or kind of idea, or he's counseled towards this idea to use this artifact and convinced. And if he does something old, an old oath is triggered that releases or gives this demonic power in this artifact control over the king. Yes, as you see, I don't have exactly an idea, and I think there we should start to work upon. So now I just write this down. Artifact. How does this functions? So, but let me just turn on that I catch all major spelling errors. Okay, great. So how could this artifact look like? Perhaps a crown, or a box, like the box of Pandora, you know, like a little bit biblical, like in the Bible. Okay. So this box is somehow transported from one location to another, hidden secretly, and transported with the caravan. So only the caravan master knew about this, which as a result led that one scene before the end, this caravan master is murdered. Okay. Something is released, an old oath. Just write some ideas down that come in mind. So if it's a crown, perhaps there was an old king that worshipped evil and was once put down. So I do there a question mark. If it's a box, demonic power is trapped inside and sealed These are just ideas. Let me check the sound. I think records. Yeah, okay, great. So I think that the king, of course, knows about the history of his own land. His mentors and people who raised him, of course, provided him with this information. And the good church is now dominant, I would say, in the Eastern and in the Western kingdom. So at the moment, they are just more operating as a cult. Once a big church or religion that was put down. And why? Because they started at some point to worship demons. Perhaps they were already influenced. And during this time, when this once great religion, this evil religion, this old king ruled over the Eastern Kingdom. And as he perhaps united, the first king united the loosely clan leaders together under this crown, this church made a present to him with this crown. And this, from there on, changed his character. And he started to hear voices. And he started to get influenced by something unknown at this point. And turned him mad. Okay, I think this crown idea, and perhaps also the oath that's bound to this, I think this will be a nice idea. So, should I go with a box or a crown? Just to throw some additional input there, to think from a completely other perspective, I just roll on this table. What you also already can use if you have not this table, this is by the Mythic-game-emulator. You can just take a book, for example, and open it randomly, put your finger down, perhaps 1 or 2 times, and use these words to think within the context you already have, if this somehow connects or gives you some new idea. But now I use this great tables, so 2 D100 tables, and let's see what this gives us. A 42. Always a great number. Haggle, okay. I don't know exactly what haggle is, but we will see. And 25. Haggle. Haggle friendship. I have to look it up, sorry. Haggle German. Feilschen, this means, okay. So to trade a little bit with some special meaning. Great, okay. Friendship was traded. this down the crown. So I put this in quotes so that I know this was a roll on this table. I go a little bit more in detail. Friendship was traded. That gave crown power. No. The king, the first king, before he gets influence, before he received the crown, once make a perhaps wrong decision. He traded friendship for power. And became king. So, I think crown is the way to go. I'll remove everything else. Crown or king that worship evil was once put down. Hegel friendship was traded for power. And a young noble became king. First king, Eastern Kingdom. So, with this, as I said, already some more historical events become clear. I think this is the most important part. What happened there? And how this crown is influenced. So, he traded a good friend for power. Perhaps we cannot answer this complete in detail. Like, it would be great to have now something that was spoken and said to him, which led to this decision that he traded or abandoned a friend that was killed, and he took this power and became the first king that united the Eastern Kingdom. Let me think. think it's more plausible that the church already forged this crown somehow, smithed it, and there is already this demonic influence behind the scene, and they had this plan to have the power over the king. They gave him the crown the day when he became king, and said that he is blessed and was born to unite and to conquer the lands. That this crown will give him the power to rule. And every lord or clan leader at this time, this was not so Middle Age, it was more the time before cities were built. So the first king, then the lords swore or gave oath to the first king to support him, to form this first kingdom, this Eastern Kingdom. And with this, they were somehow bound to this entity that was already influencing the spirit of the king who was wearing the crown. And perhaps now, in the story at the end, there's a lot of things going on around the king. The kingdom is attacked from the western side. The lords are going havoc. They want to throw the king down because they think he's weak or something like this. And then there comes this fourth lord who plays the guy, the good guy, that supports the king and says, you know, if you want to unite these lords, there's only one way. You have to show strength and what you are meant to be. And he gives him this old crown, says, this is the crown of the first ruler. And wear it. And this implies that the exact knowings about this evil influence crown are not known exactly. I think it doesn't need to be exactly more details. Perhaps when you reach the situation or this end, you will till then have collected a lot of cool fine details that you can sprinkle around. No? Now let's write some ideas down. What we talked now. Friendship was traded for power and a young noble became king. Perhaps a little bit more easy. Yes. So this was more his character. was actually just his character. He was not really a good guy. In young years, not so showing it, or was not so prominent, but it became more clear, and then he became king, received crown from religion, from church. Did I write religion? Evil religion. That at this time was the religion in this area. So nobody knew actually that they were influenced at this point somehow. Okay. And then from there on, the king was influenced by the demonic was influenced by demons and became mad. Everyone that died, that he killed, arised. Oh, you know what I want to go? I just want to implement now this kind of Death Knight style. Became mad. Later, he was killed. And put down. So this demonic power was stopped somehow, because if at this time this oath had already the demon power, the demon inside it had already this power to raise undead, so to speak. This would be, of course, known to men till now. Okay. The evil inside was not known in public. Oh. The crown was not known in public. Evil, the religion, was blamed falsely falsely was blamed to have killed the first king. Was this true or not? I don't know exactly. So this demonic influence couldn't spread as much, and this first crown gets lost. It's lost, but is what was secretly hidden from the religion that now was put down. Okay. They from there on operated as a cult. So I think it gets a little bit more structure. There's also some kind of revenge there, because what if, and this is always a good question to ask if you want to explore some things. So what if the evil religion had not killed the first king? Why should they, right? The king was a tool for them. So perhaps an unknown adventurer group in working for the good religion that started at this time operated on that and killed the king, and they wanted to get rid of this evil church because they knew they were working with demons somehow in secret, but they could not in public find some clues and could not make this publicly for everyone because this was too dangerous for them. So I think this can work. So now what I do here, I just copy this, and now let's see. Here's a good section. I make a subsection. Ah, shit. I deleted more than I wanted. So, great. So, under the secrets, now I have some information about the artifact. So this is something that can revealed from the dynamic and development of the story. It will then at the end become clear what actually is going on there, right? So done. Now let's give some names, perhaps. The false lords. Lords, I don't know, just had something with B in mind all the time. Then again. The false lord. Bennigan, Lord Bennigan. Once, I don't know, Knight of the First Order. Secretly a member of the evil religion, the False Lord. So, the Caravan Master. Must be perhaps a good-hearted guy, really charismatic, that had the power to become one of the most prominent caravan masters. Delor. Delor. Delor Makurian. Makurian. The Caravan Master. Okay. The Accused Priest. This is from not the start, I think the second scene, so where they come to the second town on their travel during the game, and what was this actually? I don't know. Let's look the scene, the end. I think that is not a lot of scenes, but just main points. The capital. Here, this is so to say the second scene or adventure section from 4 adventure sections or main themes. A town where the PCs can help a merchant who's accused for trading. So we said that early winter strikes already harsh. The group, the caravan, attempts to take the next mountain pass. Fails, fight ice thralls, okay. And they have to go back in this town, and there's his adventure with this merchant who's accused wrongly. Not wrongly, he did this. But the priest who did this was not the priest, some other guy in service of this evil religion. So there are 2 names we had to provide, the priest and the merchant. So let's start here with the accused priest. Hulmar. So, I don't know. Hulmar Felborius, the accused priest. Done. And there we have the merchant. Elvin Raris. The merchant who traded weapons and armor. Great. So make this lowercase. So yeah, we could go now a little bit more in detail. What I actually do is, if I come spontaneous up with an actor, I would say, okay, this Lord Bennigan looks like, I don't know at the moment. Just write it in there down. Perhaps how he acts from his character standpoint. But this is something you can actually do when the session comes and you think this guy is now taking part in the session, and if you have to improvise him, just be confident and do it as best as you can, and later on write down how you played him, and so they are with this you are then already always concise how you present your NPCs. So the evil church. Let me just write something down. So I don't know, perhaps this is some from another world. I don't know. Narul, the evil church. Pelnor, the good church. Okay, so Narul, the evil church. Pelnor, the good church. Yeah, some names there. What I miss here is some things I write also down. So I try. This worked in the past good for me. Just a text file, one file for the planning, so the backlog, and the logging, what happened in each session, and also a subsection I put sometimes there is about locations. For me, locations can be areas, kingdoms, cities, dungeons, right? So yeah, I would say the Western Kingdom, and so the Western Kingdom. Galaria, the kingdoms of Galaria. The Eastern Kingdom, the kingdoms of Julius. I don't know. That's actually the moment what I have. Western Kingdom of Galaria and the Eastern Kingdom of Julius. So, of course we need the current king. King Antrupius. The king of the Eastern Kingdom. King Garok. King Andrew. Second of the house of Larenwood. I don't know. Perhaps this will change. King Andrew II of the house of Larenwood is now the actual king. Okay, we put it here. You know it. Eastern Kingdom. And of course, we need the Western Kingdom. King, I don't know, strong king in the west, King Keliot. Perhaps no house named. So, okay. Okay. King Keliot. Then let's do it the second, and King Keliot the first. Okay, so now check the time. Perhaps this would be a good point, I think. Perhaps to stop and make part 4 where we concentrate on a scene. I have to see how many minutes I'm in now. 50 minutes, yeah. Yes, I would say now we end this in part 3. This adventure story planning, and I make another episodes where I just concentrate on planning the next session. I think this will be better, because then I can show you, if we plan the first session, perhaps what tools actually I use, because I think there are so many things you need to be ready with. How you reference your rules, your maps, if you want to use them, if you have a VTT, monster stats are really important, and yes. So with this, I would say thank you if you made it so long for watching, and have a great time, and all the best for you. See you. Bye.